Hello, welcome to JKD Talks. In today's video, we're going to be going over why Jeet Kune Do is different for everyone. Very good title, very controversial, but we're going to get right into it. And if you watch this full video, you will understand my point, but I'm sure I'm going to see some nice comments down below. Real quickly, my name is Joel Pollard. I'm a Jeet Kune Do practitioner, and I've studied several martial arts for over half my own life. Lastly, if you want more of this, subscribe and check out my Instagram, Joelpollardjkd. Without further ado, let's hop right in the video. Why is Jeet Kune Do different for everybody? I picked this title because obviously the original JKD guys aren't going to like it. But then two, some of the concept guys, the JKD concept guys might be like, oh wow, and be like rooting for me. But my belief of with JKD and whatnot, I think in totality, the original JKD is wrong in ways, and then in totality, Jeet Kune Do concepts is wrong in ways. I'll explain in this video, but I believe that the essence of Jeet Kune Do, what Bruce is actually trying to do, is it's both of them. It's both. That is what he was trying to do. But we'll start off with a quote from Bruce Lee, which is, I had brief training with Guru Dan Asano, awesome teacher, love him. And one of the things he would quote is that he really hammered down the idea that this quote is literally what is Jeet Kune Do. I mean, from talking to him, he really put an emphasis on that this quote is literally the definition of Jeet Kune Do. And the quote is, Bruce said it, everybody really knows this one, but absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add specifically what is your own. At least from my understanding and my interpretation of what Guru Dan was saying, he made it very clear that that is Jeet Kune Do. And I'll explain, because I know the JKD guys, original guys, are saying, oh well, that's not it. And they're right in a way. And so hopefully watch this video so you can get the full breakdown. So, that quote is very important because, from my understanding, that is what Jeet Kune Do is. Absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add specifically what is your own. How do I know this is Jeet Kune Do? Because Bruce Lee did exactly those three things. Bruce Lee absorbed what is useful. He researched all the known martial arts at the time, which were a lot. I mean, there were still books on judo, aikido, jiu-jitsu. He went to Thailand. I mean, he had a lot of experience. I mean, pretty good in various different types of Chinese systems. Had karate, at least not to say had necessarily like trained it, but trained with a ton of karate fighters and knew it very well, very in depth. He knew his stuff. Then he rejected what is useless. He took out things he didn't like. He wouldn't think it's practical, wouldn't really work, and dwindle it down. He took out a lot of stuff. And then he added specifically what is his own. He made it unique to him. He had things like the good finger jab, the really good lead punch, that he really had down. He had the good side kick. I mean, he had a lot of things that were really a part of his own system, his own style, and that was his own personal touch. But yet, I gotta make a very good point that that is what Bruce did, was, absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add specific what is your own. But Bruce Lee taught his students to apply the same principle or concept, to do this for themselves. That the JKD, it's really about principles and concepts. But the actual technique itself, you're not supposed to just copy Bruce Lee and try to be a mini Bruce Lee. That defeats the point. How do we know this? The big thing with a lot of original JKD guys, they copy Bruce Lee, they try to do everything like Bruce Lee, and they want to only do what Bruce Lee did, which is correct in the beginning. I want to emphasize that. How do you know you're even doing Jeet Kune Do if you don't even know what Bruce Lee actually did? So I agree, the beginning, for a new practitioner in JKD, they need to do the actual original material to even know what they're doing. But you don't want to limit yourself to only what Bruce Lee did. I would go against the entire JKD philosophy. The whole point, at least in '73 when Bruce Lee died, the whole point is he made it. He wanted it to not be limited to any system or any style or any technique. He did not want it to be limited. Literally, one of the quotes are what, having no limitation as limitation. So Bruce wouldn't want you to confine yourself to only doing stuff he did. How do we know this? Because Bruce Lee himself researched several styles and took what he liked and added into his system and tweaked it and made his own adjustments. He took the format and applied it for himself. And the whole point of this is that you're supposed to take the format. You're not just only supposed to copy him. I believe that you should heavily research, train with Bruce Lee students, do all stuff you need to do to understand the real material. I've trained with and talked to a few of the students, and I'm very grateful, and I'll always be grateful for their experience, their knowledge, their talks. It's very, very good stuff. I highly recommend it. Too many guys do kind of downplay the stuff Bruce Lee used to do. I mean, this stuff still stands up today. It works like a charm. But once you have a good understanding of what it is and how it works, and you have the basics down, at least, the basics of understanding, that you should continue to research and to continue to get better and continue to try other things. Why do I say this? Because that's exactly what Bruce Lee did. Bruce Lee, his whole entire life, was changing the style, making it better, making it better, making it better, making it better, making it stronger, making it precise, making it the entire way until he died. I mean, literally, he never stopped researching. He never stopped learning, and you should do the same thing. So that's a big thing, guys. We'll, quote Bruce Lee and just try to do what he did, but like the old adage is, you better try to, look at what Bruce Lee did, not necessarily always what he said, but what did he actually do? Well, he kept training, he kept researching, he kept learning other arts and trying to see, well, the weaknesses, how to work, and why it works. And usually this exact same process. And I say this because when you actually teach people, and I'm not a teacher like that at all. I mean, I just train a lot and I like it. And I want to get as good as I can be. But with showing some guys stuff, you learn very quickly that we're all different. And that sounds cliche and it sounds like whatever, but I mean, it's very, very, very true. Everybody's different. And I saw this first with Bruce Lee's students. Bruce Lee trained and taught all of his students differently. When they'd have private sessions, when they'd have private things and go over stuff one-on-one, he would show them different stuff. They would go over different stuff. So yet again, it's a big thing of original JKD guys say, oh, I'm going to do just what Bruce Lee did. Well, depending on the teacher you had, he showed them different stuff. Why did he show them different stuff? Because everyone's different, everyone has different strengths, different weaknesses, and attributes. Bob Bremer, for instance, Bob Bremer was a very street, tough guy and is a real puncher. So Bruce showed him stuff that would complement his strong punching and also showed him how to get more power in his punch. Versus a guy like Ted Wong, a lighter, did not have a lot of martial art experience. He's going to have to show himself, move around more, be on the outside. He's just not that gritty, rough and tough street fighter. Then you have a guy like Guru Dan Asano. Very experienced martial art, black belt in karate, Filipino martial arts, like very experienced martial artist. He has a different point. He trained all the students differently when they go in private. When you're training in a setting where it's multiple people, a class, a small class, it's very hard to do that. It's really, really, really hard to do that. Much harder than you think. And that's one of the reasons why he disbanded the schools. When you're teaching multiple people, you really have to narrow it down and make a formula or system that everybody can do. You really can't just help every individual person and tell them exactly what to do for themselves. Yet again, I'm not a teacher. I just train a lot, and I train guys I train with, hey, since they help me training and they spar with me and stuff, I show them stuff. When you have a group of guys, you really, really can't give him that specific feedback to say, okay, turn your hips more and get the elbow in. And because everybody's different. For instance, I have one guy, shout out to Big Spence, great guy, he's on the job as a firefighter with me, and he's a very good puncher, like a just, tough guy, had a few fights, and just like a hard puncher. Like, I mean, just naturally, he punches hard off rip. He punches hard. So now I obviously show him the lead punch and stuff and show him how to get actual power, knockout power with the lead punch. This guy punches like a truck. I mean, it's good. But funny enough, his technique in doing the punch is different than my technique. And I was very shocked. I didn't believe it. I was confused. Because I show him the technique of, how to do a straight lead or whatnot. And I'll say it. I kind of developed a different way to do the straight lead to get more power in it, because I'm not as strong as Bruce Lee, I'm not as fast as Bruce Lee, I don't have the muscle density, I don't have the tendon strength, I'm not as physically a specimen as Bruce Lee. Therefore, I had to tweak it in certain ways to get more power in it, so you can still really hurt the guy and knock him out. But yet again, it's still the same concepts, it's still a straight line, and it's not telegraphed and still power, but it's just I tweaked it a little bit to get more power with it. And I show him the technique, and I'm able to knock him back several feet or whatever. And then he does it on me, and he's a very quick learner too. He's very fast, and he starts to get it. And now I'm holding the pad, and he's knocked me back 10 feet, knocked me back, and I'm flying. But he's doing the technique differently. He's doing it wrong. And I was confused. I'm thinking in my mind, how is he even able to generate that much power when he's doing it like that? Like that doesn't make sense. But then that's when I learned. I mean, even in technique, we're different. That I didn't think that. I thought that if you show somebody a technique that they do it like you, they're gonna get the exact same result as you. Then here Spence comes along. He does it differently. He's using his foot differently, and he's knocking me across the room with one punch, one lead punch, knocking me across the room. And yet again, I can do something very similar with my own way of doing it, and I was surprised. I'm like, that is correct. I didn't think that was possible. He's doing it wrong, but he's getting the same exact result that I get, and it's very impressive. And so why in the world would I tell him, no, you're doing it wrong, actually you're supposed to do it exactly like me? Why would I do that? It's working. He's not telegraphing. It's fast, it's powerful. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it. And so then other guys I train, completely different body types, completely different mindset, completely different experience. Now I gotta show this guy a different way to develop power, a different way, and see how his body responds to it. And people are different. And this summer I heard Guru Dan say a lot, and yet again I didn't really believe it at first. Like, okay, yeah, some guys are taller, shorter, stronger, fatter, but I thought when it came to technique that everybody should have the same technique because that's how your body works. I was wrong. Yet again, Spence doing a different technique, knocking me across the room. And so that's when I learned, oh wow, like everyone is different. You can't teach everybody the same way. You have to, and that's what Bruce did, especially if you're like a martial art teacher in any regard. When you're doing one-on-one or whatever, in my opinion, one-on-one is the best way to get really good. You have to really individualize it for the person and specifically make the techniques and adjustments for him because everyone's different. Yet again, I train another guy. He's short and he's a wrestler. Totally different way. And since he's a wrestler, yes, we're still going to do the straight lead, the finger jab, the leg obstruction, the low line side kick, and stuff like that, and the straight blast. But I have to show him different stuff with the trapping and the sticking hands to set up his wrestling. He's a wrestler by nature. So I'm not, and he's very good. He's very good. If you don't grapple, he's taking him on the ground. You're not going to stop him. You can't. With that being said, it would be wrong for me to say, hey, forget about all that wrestling stuff. We're only going to do this and that and this and that. The JKD should complement his strength. That through what I teach, with the sticking hands, it very well easily sets up takedowns. It works like a charm. And it works really good because now I'm controlling the guy's hands so that I can go for the single leg. That way they can't even hit me. and stuff like that. Or go for the finger jab or leg obstruction, then to the single leg, then for the ankle pick. I'm showing them different ways how to get into that because the JKD, the martial arts, to complement his style. That's a very big thing Bruce Lee stressed on. The individual is most important. The individual is more important than the system. The system should work for the individual. And I've seen it with my own eyes. He's totally right. You really have to make it tailor-made for the person. With what I teach and everything, with helping these guys, I take pride in that this stuff works. I've used it, and more importantly, the guys I showed have used it and it works. And they've won, and it works every time. So with that in mind, I don't want to show them stuff that's not going to work. And I want to lean into their strengths. Everybody's strengths is different, and that's one thing about fighting. To be good at fighting, you want to fully lean in your strengths, and you want your opponent to play at your strengths, not the other way around. If I'm fighting a boxer, I'm not going to let him box. I'm going to kick the knee, I'm going to move around, I might even grapple. I'm not going to let him box. I'm going to kick, I'm going to blast, I'm not going to let him box. Versus the grappler, obviously, I'm not going to let him grapple. I have good takedown defense, I'm going to move around, I'm going to do other stuff. You don't want to let the person do their good thing while simultaneously you want to stay at your strength. And then again, it goes that everybody's different. My strength is, I will say, being on the outside, being able to pick the guy apart, move around. That is what I'm best at, and I know it is true. So if I'm fighting or hard sparring, I want to stay in that range. Now back to my other guy, the wrestler, the shorter wrestler. His strength is wrestling. And that if he had a gun to his head, he had to do something, it's wrestle. He's very good at it. So the JKD is going to help him be able to do that. It's to get him in his strengths. Now back to Big Spence. His is punching. That dude is a good puncher. So the stuff I'm showing him is to set up that punching. The leg obstruction is a very good thing to do. It's a very good way to set up. It's to set up that technique because he's very good at it. I'm not going to show Spence the flashy kicks and all this stuff. No, it's going to be geared around getting him, first of all, getting his punching even stronger, but then also it should be geared around him. That's the point of the JKD. That's why Bruce Lee taught all of his students differently. It's literally imperative. Real quick, if you like this, be sure, go ahead to Instagram, Joelpollardjkd. It's in the link in the description of this video. And also, I do have a $10 course or whatever. If you want to see this stuff and get really good, it's in the link in the description as well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, that is why everybody's JKD is going to be different and should be different. Because we all are genuinely different. And that Bruce wouldn't, yet again, he wouldn't want you to copy him. Because Bruce copied no one. He leaned into Bruce. Bruce did Bruce. That was a big thing. He did a lot of stuff people didn't agree with, people didn't like, and he was a pioneer for a lot of the stuff. It was very uncommon to train other arts. He did a lot of stuff people didn't do. But he didn't copy Ip Man. He didn't copy Wong Chung Long. He didn't copy William Chung. He didn't copy anybody. He was himself, and he fully expressed himself with his Jeet Kune Do. And usually the same exact thing. Bruce Lee would not want you to just copy him. He would want you to be you, and the JKD is supposed to bring out your full potential. That's what I've learned. It's supposed to bring out your full potential. We are all different. And what I've learned is that the things that make you different are the things that make you special. If you just copy, you are throwing away what makes you special. I believe you take what Bruce Lee actually did, which is very important. You train it a ton. You train a lot and get really good. And then once you get at a good point of reference where this stuff works, that's when you should still be researching other stuff, seeing what you can use from other styles, and doing what Bruce Lee said. Absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add specifically what is your own. That should be a constant process. And that things that you're not good at, you should be brushing up on your weaknesses, getting them better, and hiding them. Either getting them better or hiding them. That's a big thing, because at the end of fighting, Your whole real goal is to lean into your strengths and to not let the opponent do any of his strengths. That really is the key to fighting. If the guy grapples, I'm not going to let him grapple. If he's a Thai boxer, I'm not going to get in the clinch. Like, that's how it is. If he's a kicker, you better believe I'm not going to let him kick. I'm going to be in punching you in the face. That's how fighting is, and Bruce Lee knew this. That's why one of his quotes, I think, was like, the best martial artist is not a karate, judo man, aikido man. The best martial artist is one who like kicks too good for the judo man, punches too good for the karate man, and grapples too good for the boxer. Something like that. The whole idea of you don't want to play into the guy's strengths. And I say that because, yet again, everybody has different strengths. Everybody has different attributes. Everybody has different mindsets. So, yet we all are different. So with that, we are all going to need a different approach to this method. That is why Jeet Kune Do is a concept. That is why it's a principle-based system and philosophy. It's based on principles and concepts. Funny enough, the term JKD concept, where did it come from? People think Dan created the term JKD concept, and they'll probably, you're watching this right now, say he did. No. Yet again, Dan could be lying, but when he told me, when he told the class, he literally said, when Bruce is researching this, and this is like close to 70 now, and it's really changed, and it's more the fencing and boxing. He's really good, and he can have some power, hard hitting. He can just knock him out, and he's super fast, so fast the guy can't even hit him. That's when he learned. Bruce Lee said himself, like, Dan, like, JKD is not really a system. I mean, JKD is more of a concept. Bruce Lee literally used the term. Bruce Lee is the one who made that term. He literally said that JKD is more of a concept. That's where Dan got the term from, JKD concept. It's because JKD, it's a philosophy based on principles and concepts. And so now we're coming back to full circle. So hopefully original JKD guys have been watching this far, probably not. But hopefully they are. Because now we're going to tie it all together. The reason why Jeet Kune Do is a heavily based philosophy on concepts and principles is because the concepts and principles are the same. The techniques can differ. That is what Jeet Kune Do is, and that's why a lot of original guys and concept guys get wrong. The concepts and principles stay the same. We're using the same concepts Bruce Lee used: economy of motion, developing attributes like power, speed, timing, rhythm, coordination, footwork, mobility. Concepts like, again, economy of motion, structure, concepts that intercepting, flowing your attacks, overwhelming the guy. Those are the concepts that make up Jeet Kune Do. And it's about how you go about fulfilling those concepts. Then again, intercepting. Obviously, everybody knows that. Everyone in the grandma knows Jeet Kune Do is the way that intercepting fist. We know. But if you take that at face value, when the guy steps towards you, everybody knows you can, finger jab, you can lead punch, you can leg kick, go for that low line side kick to the knee. But yet again, in Bruce's notes, you could also shoot for a single leg. You could also go for a kick to the body. You could also go for a lock. Maybe he tries to grab you, go for a lock right then, you intercept him. If it works, that's the most important part. That it works. So you can use the concepts, because that's what JKD is. It's concept and principle based. It's the same concept, same principles, but how you go about it, the techniques you use are what is that's where your version of the JKD starts to emerge. But yet again, it's the concepts. I really want to stress that. Dan would talk about how the techniques don't really matter. Techniques don't really matter. That it's the concepts and principles behind the technique that make it work. And he said that a while. He said that like maybe 2 years ago when I was at a seminar with him. And not with him, not like I was teaching. Like I was in the audience. I'm not, no. But recently it just came true. So time and time again, he was so right. He was so right. I can do pretty much a lot of techniques when I'm intercepting the guy. When he's going in for me and he's not expecting me to hit him, I can get away with a finger jab, a punch, a palm strike, a single leg. a kick, I can do many techniques and I'm still intercepting him, and it's going to be effective. Yet again, not to the JKD guys, the original JKD guys, Jeet Kune Do is effective. And if what you're doing is not effective, it's not JKD. I'll say it. So yet again, we take the same concepts. Your JKD still has to be fast, powerful. It still has to be non-telegraphic. It still has to be somewhat simple and direct. But everyone's different. You can still do certain techniques and still get that across because everyone's different. Everyone's background is different. So by nature, everyone is going to have different techniques they like to do, and different techniques they're good at. And so it's about taking those techniques you're good at, modifying them, sharpening them up, getting them faster, stronger, not telegraphing, and using those same concepts and principles. For instance, economy of motion is very important. That alone, economy of motion in a punch is going to teach you the structure in a punch to punch hard, to punch fast. By nature, to punch fast, it has to not be telegraphed. And so, yet again, that's what Bruce Lee was doing. That's why he had the strong hand in the front and the fast lead punch. It was not telegraphed, it was a straight line, and it was hard, and put the guy on the floor and knock him out. And so the point is that you take these concepts and you apply it in your own, system, martial art. But that, from my understanding, Jeet Kune Do is really understanding combat. It really is just understanding combat and what works in combat. That's JKD. With that, Bruce Lee's concepts and principles are the bread and butter, what works in real life. I mean, he nailed it, hit on the head. Building attributes like toughness, and I said, toughness, speed, power, very important. If you don't have the attributes, it doesn't matter what you do to the guy. It doesn't matter the technique. If you don't punch hard, you need to start punching. You need to train more. You need to punch harder. You need to learn how to punch hard, because the whole point is that you need to be able to hit the guy and you knock it up. That's how you win the fight. So hitting hard is very important. Hitting fast is very important too. It doesn't matter how hard I can hit. If I don't land, what am I doing? So it's taking attribute training is very important. Bruce did it a ton. He trained a lot. He was very ripped. Very important. But the other concepts like intercepting, yet again, very important. If you can intercept somebody, very, very effective. Offense wins fights. Being offensive, that's a big concept in JKD, obviously. That's why he had more the fencing and boxing. It's very offensive by nature. I don't want to wait for you. I want to hit you. And that if you're blocking, I'm going to still be hitting you. That was very important. Yet again, why is offense? Because offense wins fights. That's what works. Being able to flow your attacks. Another concept in JKD, very important. That's where the straight blast comes in. That's also where boxing combination comes in. That's also where, I can go finger jab, a leg kick, or I'll say finger jab, low line side kick, then lead punch. I'm flowing my attacks. Bruce is able to do that very well. Why? Because flowing your attacks is effective. I mean, it works, Playing to the guy's weaknesses. It's very classic JKD. Hit him in the eye, the groin. Very classic. But also, Bruce knew he studied several martial arts. And a big reason why I studied them was to find the weaknesses. What are they not good at? And to know that if he had to fight someone of the style, he's going to only attack their weaknesses. So I hope this video went a lot of places, but I hope this helped get my point across that JKD is going to be different in some ways for everybody. I think the title might be a little bit thrown out there. I don't think everybody's JKD is going to look completely different. No, I don't agree to that, because the concepts and principles of JKD are the same. It's the techniques that we go about it that can be different, but the concepts are still the same. And if you apply these same JKD concepts, principles, I should say, the principles, it's going to make you fight very effectively. It's going to make you fight better. Just alone with developing speed and power and having economy of motion is going to make you a very good fighter. Economy of motion meaning like correct structure and technique to get the most bang for your buck, to get the most effective strike out of minimal effort. That's where the lead punch comes in, because it follows those exact same principles. So that is the real essence of where JKD lies. It's a philosophy based on principles and concepts. that you can apply in fighting, but also you can apply in real life as well. I mean, you really can. Um, Absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add specifically what is your own is something you can do in real life, not fighting. You know, when you're trying to create something new or go through problems, it's still being open-minded enough to do those 3 steps. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if not, leave a comment down below explaining what you did like or did not like. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, take care, and keep training. Peace.